Basketball is supposed to be joy, crowds cheering, last-second shots, passion, legacy, greatness. But sometimes, the court goes silent, the headlines turn dark, and we're reminded the NBA isn't immune to tragedy. This isn't about missed shots or lost seasons. It's about moments where lives were shattered, legacies questioned, and trust in the game almost broken. Scandals, fights, death, betrayal. This is the side of basketball that lives in shadows. Welcome to the NBA's darkest moments. The vanishing of Bison Dele. He had everything: an NBA career, millions in the bank, a championship ring, but more than that, he had peace. Bison Dele, formerly Brian Williams, walked away from basketball at just 30, left the fame, the cameras, the noise. He wanted something pure, so he disappeared into the world, traveling, exploring, searching. But in July 2002, he vanished for good. He was sailing in the South Pacific with his girlfriend, his older brother Miles Dabord, and the boat's skipper. They never made it back. Weeks later, Dabord returned alone. The boat was damaged, holes patched, its nameplate removed, and Bison gone. Authorities later discovered that someone was using Bison's identity to buy gold. That someone was his own brother. The theory: Miles killed Bison, the girlfriend, and the skipper, then tried to cover it up. Before he could be arrested, he overdosed, slipped into a coma, and died, taking the truth with him. Bison Dele's body was never found. No graves, no justice, only a mystery, floating in the ocean breeze. He left the game to find peace. He disappeared into silence. The malice at the palace. It was supposed to be just another game. November 19, 2004, Pistons vs. Pacers. Tough rivalry, physical tension, nothing unusual, until one foul flipped history. With less than a minute left, Ron Artest shoved Ben Wallace. Wallace shoved back. Players got in each other's faces. Refs tried to separate them. It looked like it would cool down, but then, it got worse. Artest, trying to stay out of it, laid down on the scorer's table, trying to keep calm, and then a fan threw a drink. That one cup exploded the NBA. Artest charged into the stands. Punches flew. Chairs were thrown. Steven Jackson followed. Players fighting fans. Fans swinging back. Total chaos. Security couldn't stop it. Commentators couldn't believe it. Kids watching on TV saw their heroes brawling like street fighters. The game stopped. The season shook. The result: Ron Artest suspended for the entire season, 86 games. Steven Jackson, 30 games. Jermaine O'Neal, 25. Dozens of fans were arrested, and the NBA's image was shattered. This wasn't just a fight, it was a culture reset. The NBA added stricter dress codes, security tightened, and player-fan boundaries became sacred. One thrown cup showed the world, even kings can lose their crowns in seconds. The tragedy of Len Bias: he was going to be the next big thing. Len Bias had everything: 6 feet 8 inches, explosive athleticism, smooth jumper, NBA-ready body. Scouts said he was better than Jordan coming out of college. In 1986, the Boston Celtics had just won a title, and still ended up with the second overall pick. They selected Len Bias. It felt unfair. The champs had just drafted the future. 2 days later, he was gone. Bias celebrated with friends that night. Cocaine was involved just once, they said, and suddenly, his heart stopped. Cardiac arrhythmia. He collapsed in his dorm room. By the time help arrived, it was too late. He never wore a Celtics jersey, never played an NBA minute. The league was stunned, fans cried, players were shook. Bias's death became a national wake-up call. The NBA began drug testing policies. The government passed tougher anti-drug laws, and young players were warned, talent won't protect you from tragedy. Len Bias wasn't just a loss for the Celtics. He was a reminder that potential is never promised. The NBA referee scandal. When the whistle was dirty, we trust the refs. They're supposed to be neutral, honest, unshakable. But what if one of them was betting on the games he controlled? Between 2005 and 2007, Tim Donaghy was an NBA referee. Respected, experienced, part of the system. But off the court, he was working with illegal bookmakers. He placed bets on games, not just any games he officiated. He knew which stars were on edge, who had tension with who, what refs called what fouls, and he used it to influence spreads subtly but powerfully. Fouls, technicals, missed travels. He knew how to shift momentum without raising flags, until the FBI got involved. Donaghy was exposed. He confessed, and the NBA world cracked open. Commissioner David Stern called it the most serious situation I've ever dealt with. The fallout. Donaghy was sentenced to 15 months in prison. NBA ref credibility took a massive hit. Fans everywhere started questioning, was that call legit, or was it bought? Even today, some controversial games, especially playoff ones, are still whispered about. The game was supposed to be pure, but even the whistle had a price. In the early 90s, European players weren't taken seriously in the NBA. Too soft, too slow, not built for the American game. And then came Dražen Petrović, from Croatia, a sniper with confidence. He didn't just play basketball, he lit the floor on fire. With the New Jersey Nets, Dražen became one of the league's deadliest shooters. Trash-talking, fearless, proud. In 1993, he averaged 22 points a game, and shot over 44% from three in an era where threes were rare. But more than stats, he was changing perceptions, making GMs and scouts look at Europe differently. And then, he got in a car. June 7, 1993, Dražen wasn't even driving. He was sleeping in the passenger seat when a truck crossed the road and slammed into their car. Petrović died instantly. He was 28. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. The NBA lost not just a star but a bridge, a symbol that Europe could not only compete, it could lead. Dražen wasn't just ahead of his time, he was the time coming. He was one of the most electrifying scorers of the 2000s. Gilbert Arenas, Agent Zero, fearless, flashy, unstoppable. At his peak, he dropped back-to-back 50-point games. He was clutch, he was loud, he was everywhere. But what happened next wasn't just shocking, it was reckless. December 2009, Arenas got into an argument with teammate Javaris Crittenton over a gambling debt. Something petty, ego-driven. And in one of the most unbelievable moments in NBA history, Arenas walked into the Wizards' locker room with guns, laid them out like a joke, challenged Crittenton to pick one. Yes, in a professional NBA locker room. Crittenton, he brought his own gun the next day. This wasn't just conflict, this was an explosion waiting to happen. Once the story broke, media went wild. The NBA was stunned. Commissioner David Stern suspended Arenas for the rest of the season. Sponsors vanished, his image destroyed, and his career never recovered. From all-star to cautionary tale, Gilbert Arenas had the league in his hands until he brought a gun instead of a game. Some players retire, some walk away, but Kobe Bryant, he never really left the game. He was still in every gym, coaching his daughter, inspiring players, writing stories, building his second legacy. Then one morning, the news broke. January 26, 2020. A helicopter, fog, a hillside in Calabasas. Kobe Bryant, Gianna Bryant, and 7 others, gone. Just like that, no warning, no goodbye, just headlines, shock, and silence. The world froze. NBA games paused mid-play. Grown men cried on live TV. Murals were painted overnight. This wasn't just about basketball. It was about a father, a mentor, a symbol of relentless will. He gave us 81 points, 5 rings, countless memories, but more than anything, he gave us Mamba mentality, the mindset that pain fuels purpose, that you show up, no matter what, that greatness isn't given, it's earned every single day. Legends never die. But sometimes, they leave too soon. He was the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers for over 30 years, a billionaire, a face in the front row, but behind the scenes, Donald Sterling had a dark reputation. Whispers of discrimination, housing lawsuits, racist behavior hidden behind expensive suits. And in 2014, it all came crashing down. A recording leaked. Sterling angry, bitter, telling his girlfriend not to bring black people to games, telling her not to associate publicly with players like Magic Johnson. The voice was clear. The intent, uglier than anything the league had heard in years. Players were furious. The Clippers wore their warm-ups inside out in protest. There was talk of a full player strike. The NBA had a choice: let it slide, or draw a line. Commissioner Adam Silver, in his defining moment, stepped up. He banned Donald Sterling for life, fined him $2,500,000 and forced the sale of the team. The league stood tall, not for a championship, but for what was right. Basketball is a game for all, but silence is not part of the playbook. He wasn't loud, wasn't flashy, but every night, Reggie Lewis quietly gave Boston hope. In the early 90s, the Celtics were rebuilding. Bird was fading, McHale and Parrish were near the end, and Lewis, a smooth scorer, strong defender, became the next face of the franchise. He dropped 20 points per game, made an all-star team, and was known as a humble leader. He had everything you'd want in a cornerstone, until his body betrayed him. During a 1993 playoff game, Reggie suddenly collapsed on the court mid-dribble, no contact. He clutched his chest, everyone froze. He got up, walked off, and told reporters, "I just felt dizzy, I'll be fine." But he wasn't. A few months later, July 27, while practicing alone at Brandeis University, he collapsed again. This time, he didn't get up. He was just 27 years old. It was later discovered that Reggie had a rare heart condition. Doctors warned him, some even advised retiring, but second opinions gave him hope, and he chose to keep chasing the game. His death devastated the Celtics, devastated Boston, devastated the league. There was no farewell tour, no last game, just silence, and a number 35 jersey hanging in the rafters. Reggie Lewis didn't chase stardom, he chased the game, and the game couldn't hold him long enough. These weren't just stories, they were reminders that behind every sold-out arena, every championship banner, every highlight reel, there are shadows, pain, loss, regret. If you want to understand how the NBA's journey kept evolving, super teams, rule changes, the rise and fall of legends, then watch this video, Every NBA Era Explained in 27 Minutes. A journey that shows how the NBA kept redefining itself in every era. Click now.